and welcome to my first podcast. This is Body Sync Bytes with Christina Zarate. I am a holistic health practitioner, and I've been practicing in Oceanside, California since 2003, and started my practice in Santa Barbara in 1995. I'm here today with one of my dearest friends, Lisa Salow, and she's going to help me introduce myself to you and to explore some of her experience with me as a practitioner, as a friend, and as a health authority in the Tri-City area. So, welcome, Lisa.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here. This is so much fun.
I didn't know who was going to be my guest to start off this introductory podcast, and it's amazing that it's you. So thank you for accepting my invitation and for being willing to share your story and to just be real for people here with me today.
So you started your practice in 1995. You just mentioned that. And so that's well over 2 decades that you've been doing this. And so what can you tell us that you really love about your massage therapy?
All I know is when I first took my first class that it was something that I just wanted to know. I wanted to be an expert in it. I wanted to know how to be my best for people and how to help them heal and help them know where the pain in their body was coming from. So it was never anything that I ever thought I would do, but I snuck into a massage therapy class. Definitely was a friend of mine that we both had office jobs. I'd already finished my degrees at UCSB and kind of didn't have anything better to do. I felt like if I didn't do massage school, she wouldn't either. She did all the research. It was 2 or 3 different Santa Barbara massage schools that we could have gone to. She told me which one was the best one. She told me we were going to go in the fall and we didn't go. She told me we were going to go in the winter. We didn't go. In the spring, I showed up for class and she didn't.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And that's how I started my massage career. So at that point,
did she ever show up for class?
Yeah, we didn't stay in contact, as amazing as that was. And at some point, I saw her in town, and I said, "What happened to you?" She'd gone to a different massage school.
Oh, okay.
But she put me where I needed to be.
There you go.
I was with Katie Mickey at Santa Barbara Body Therapy Institute. There I got to meet John Harris, who was definitely by far one of the greatest mentors in my life. Unfortunately, he passed away a few years ago and suffered from Parkinson's. Mm-hmm. So, but he practices through me every single day. If it wasn't for him, I wouldn't know how to take care of myself as a therapist, and I don't think I would have been doing this for 25 years. So I think I wanted to be really good at massage therapy, and John helped me be that person. So I think that's what massage allows me to be, is it allows me to be my best for each one of my clients. And I think that's what we're all looking for, is like somewhere where we can be appreciated for our knowledge, our skill set, for, what we've invested our time and energy into. So I am very blessed that I've been given the opportunity to be in this practice for this long. And I'm hoping that through this podcast, I can give back part of what I've learned from all of my clients.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's evident that you have a deep passion for the work that you do. But I know your favorite part, and I know there's a lot of aspects to what you do, but one of your most favorite parts is when you're actually massaging somebody. Can you tell us more about what it is, what you're feeling and what you're going through when you're doing the work on someone's body?
Yeah, it's always such a sacred space. And I don't mean to say that in a religious way, but I just really honor the trust and the privilege that it comes when somebody's asking questions about their body and about their health and about just what'll make them feel better. So part of my practice is creating that safe space and really listening to my clients, what's going on for them at that moment. So what's best for me is to get to be in a relationship with the client over a long period of time, because they tend to not disclose everything the first session. I've been with clients for years and years and years. And, year 2, I'm finding something new about them. And so
I am a client of yours, so I
find out new things about Lisa all the time. And I think I'm her best friend.
Oops, did I leave that part out?
So so part of my process is just tuning into the person, especially if they're on my schedule, they're already in my energy. Like they're already somebody I'm focusing and tuning into. So by the time they get to me, I'm kind of already holding a space for them. So that's the other good thing about the fact that I've had a space in the same place for more than 20 years because it's just been able to be that healing space.
Right. It kind of holds everything.
It just holds your energy. Of course, I do my Qigong and I have my, my out so I can send the energy somewhere else. But for my safe space, I get to just do good healing work there. And that's just native to that space.
And just as you're talking about this now, and I'm thinking about the work that you and I have done together, it seems like your hands kind of have their own way of communicating with somebody's body. And I think that's really special in how you approach each individual. It's like they communicate on their own.
You definitely have picked up on something that I always felt very appreciative of. That was some of the feedback that I got when I was training with John Harris. He said to me, he taught me my trigger point therapy and just really tuning into the body. And he told me, I said, "Oh, I can feel it." And he goes, "Oh, well, that's great." And I was like, "What, can't you?" And he said, "No."
Oh, wow.
And he said, "That's why you'll be a better therapist than me."
Wow.
And he's like, "I can show you how to touch the body, but I can't train somebody how to feel it."
How to feel it.
So that alone gave me the confidence that maybe I did have a skill set that was really perfect for the work that I'm doing. So, I do feel it.
Yes.
It's sometimes hard to reflect back to like when the client wants to know, what are you feeling? What are you feeling? It's hard to then put back into like a physical world, like what those communications from your body are. But I always put it back into a very physiological state. Like, look, this is, tension, or this is, circulation not occurring. This is holding patterns. This is maybe sitting in a position too long or working out too hard. Like there's the communication of the body is the communication of the body.
Right,
so
right.
what I like to think of is that I'm there to help you interpret it. Right. Yeah. So the body is giving you signals and sending you words, but you may not speak the language.
Right.
So
yes, that makes sense. That makes sense. And I know, I'm sure my body has probably on several occasions told you, I'm angry. What is she doing to me? Why does she keep doing it?
But we're all doing our best every day to listen to those messages.
Right.
The problem is there's so many inputs, right? You and I have explored a lot of the new technology that's out there so that we're relying on our own inner voices to tell us where to go. But it's really great that we're in this technology now where we have assets and they give us agency to actually know how our bodies, like both Lisa and I use a product called Lumen. And it is just one tool in our toolbox for kind of trying to gauge where our, quote, health is at the time. The other device that Lisa and I both use is our Oura Ring.
What's your sleep score?
And they are helpful. I mean, it is so helpful to, there's times when my scores are really low and Lisa will say, "Are you okay?" And
I'll text her.
Yes,
Are you okay this morning?
I forgot my ring was charging. It wasn't that I only had a 27 sleep score. So for those of you that don't know, Oura is a ring that you wear when you're sleeping, and it helps.
Visual aid.
It helps gives you biofeedback. So it tells you if you, all the stages of sleep, but it also tells you throughout the day, like your stress levels, and if you're relaxed, and if you've had a stressful day or if you had a relaxed day. I saw you most recently posted she was tracking on her Oura when she was doing her taxes
Working
this
on
week.
taxes on Sunday, and my stress stress day. God, usually Sunday's like a normal day or a restorative day. It was not this last Sunday. Taxes.
So these are the things then that we can use, right? So then if we know we had a really stressful day or just we feel wiped out, we can kind of tune back into the apps that will give us this data and track it over time.
Right.
So I don't know if, again, I love to talk to people about how to use these devices and where they come in their lives. And so for me, the thing that was most profound with Aura as I've been engaging and really tracking my health over the last couple of years was when it came up with our quarterly reports.
Yeah, we just got those. We just got a seasonal report this time.
And the usefulness in that for me is I like to always think of myself as an A, like an A personality, like I can do this. So when it tells you, are you meeting your workout goals or your activity goals for the day? I always think, oh, I'm getting pretty close. But when you get these quarterly reports, and they tell you only hit your goal like 69% of the time. Like, that is not acceptable.
No, that's not A work.
No, not A work. So that's how I use it in my life.
Right.
It's just to be a little bit better next quarter because then I can be a little bit better the next quarter. So it's not so much, you and I both struggle with this like every single day, like in an orthodoxy of routine, right? We try to give ourselves the flexibility to live real lives, right? And luckily here in Southern California, our exercise routines aren't very disrupted. They are every now and then.
As we sit in our rainy day today.
But both of you and I have learned that even with the rainy day, it's okay to take a day off because we're not hardcore enough to ride in that rainy day because we know tomorrow's...
We've tried.
We know tomorrow's going to be sunny. So we try to find that balance. Like we want to be dedicated cyclists or dedicated people who stay strict to our routines. And then even in the best of worlds, we're still at 69%.
Right. And Aura will tell you too that, today should be a restorative day. You should take a break, please, for the love of God, take a break.
You probably get those messages more than me.
You should be resting. That's what my ring tells me.
So with those kinds of gauges, right? Like there's all of this out there. And where I really wanted to bring this back to is like what I know I'm an expert on, right? I can use all of those tools with my clients and to guide their daily lifestyle and to coach their habits and to be accountable in their lives. But where I know I'm an expert is where that massage therapy and that touch comes into play. And as I kind of felt about where I wanted to take all of this, it really did come back down to the body because there really isn't anybody talking about touch and what it can do and how it benefits everybody. Even to listening to one of the podcasters I listened to interview a nurse of his who had gone through a diagnostic nightmare, came to found she was with 4 or 5 different doctors and not one of them had touched her to diagnose her hip pain. She thought it was back pain. But it was only until like the final doctor was like, let's just, press around on your body a little bit. And that was one of my ahas for this. It was like, even I found myself not disclosing to a doctor and just a regular visit what was wrong with me until they were like, how are you doing? They just started to palpate my arm. And I was like, oh yeah, that elbow kind of is funny sometimes. And my thumbs pop. Or all of a sudden I wanted to tell her about, once she touched my body, I wanted to tell her what was going on with my body. So as I've been soliciting people to join me in future episodes, I spoke with a cardiologist that, also says that there needs to be more touch. There needs to be more people who can give you an accountability in your daily life. And I was like, that's where massage therapy should find its place.
Yes.
And in that, I most recently, and you may have seen this too on YouTube and stuff, they're talking about lipedema as a new diagnosis. And there's lymphedema and there's lipedema. And lymphedema is what can happen when you've had lymph nodes removed or have some damage, and you're actually getting like a sluggish lymph syndrome from that. And that can happen. Some people just are born that way congenitally. They get it in their lower legs. Sometimes you can have it in your arms. It can be a repercussion of radiation and some breast cancer treatments.
Right.
I've had clients with lots of that. Of course, lymphatic drainage therapy is great for that. It's slowly pressured, light touch therapy that is great for circulation, great for calming the nervous system, and just it does actually flush that excess lymph that's sluggish. It does help actually move it. Just talking about lymph, it only moves 3 ways. It moves when we move, it moves when we breathe, and you can manipulate it. So massage therapy is great for all of those things.
Right.
So especially in some of these situations where people are recovering, they're not able to move much.
Right.
So then that's when a lymphatic drainage therapist is like fabulous, because I can move the body the way that would be naturally moving and naturally moving the lymph in that movement. With lipedema, they're saying now that that's a medical diagnosis. And now I get people calling me if I do certified lymphatic therapy. So doctors are asking, telling their patients that they have to find CLT-LANA certified therapists. And I'm saying, what is this? I've been doing lymphatic drainage for 20 years, and now all of a sudden the doctors are referring to me, but I don't have the certification. So I don't think that the insurance will pay for it.
Oh, okay.
But they're requiring this therapy before the new Western medicine diagnostic protocol for lipedema. They have to have certified lymphatic therapy prior to liposuction, which is now the treatment that the insurance companies are going to have to pay for.
And what exactly is lymphedema?
Lipedema is just an accelerated fat accumulation, and it usually happens in all over the body or specific areas of the body. So it can be like from the hips and buttocks down. It can be just in the arms. It's basically like the remedy for individuals who can diet and exercise and swear their whole life, and they're just still large.
Okay.
So the treatment now is liposuction is kind of like their only hope for reducing their weight and, being at a healthier level where they can move and hopefully get back a lifestyle without just this excess fat. So the problem is, and I want to get into this in a different episode, but that's the thing is that liposuction is a very invasive therapy. So I know that they're being offered, they're now saying that diet and lifestyle isn't affecting that condition. And I don't want to say that it does. But then after they have that, they're recommending diet and lifestyle.
Of course.
So.
Of course. Well, and I think too, you have to incorporate all of it.
Right.
I mean, you have to have a healthy lifestyle and diet.
But my fear is at this point that I love that the medical field is embracing touch therapy and now requiring some sort of manual lymphatic drainage. I don't think it should be required for surgery. Again, I feel like stay in your lane.
Get out of mine.
Don't make them come and see me now that you guys can't take care of it. So I'm a little concerned with just what the immediate need will be for people who are seeking this medically diagnostic treatment. They're looking for the treatment now that is certified for that and protocol for that, and that they have to jump through all these hoops. And I don't know how many CLT-LANA therapists there are out there.
It's a long
So I don't know, I feel qualified even though I might not be certified.
Right.
So the problem with that is going to be, getting people to just pay out of pocket. So in the medical field these days, I feel that it's dysfunctional. I've grown up in the medical field. My dad was a pediatrician for many, many years. He just retired in 2023. And yeah, like it's just dysfunctional. There aren't, even right now, trying to get in to see a new doctor for me is 3 months. And so I feel like that gap of care is going to fall to alternative practitioners,
right.
Whether it be chiropractors, whether it be acupuncturists, whether it be massage therapists, lymphatic drainage, like stretch therapy. It's going to fall to us to hopefully care for people. And even now, because the barriers to surgeries sometimes are so difficult, people are paying out of pocket anyways to see physical therapists and lymphatic drainage therapists just to see if those therapies can help them move to a new space, help them start a new lifestyle, get them some benefits so then they have more energy or they have more flexibility or they have more motivation to go, do the next thing that's good for their health. So, I always like to start with, the sleep and the exercise and what kind of food they're eating and what kind of stress is in their life. So that's what makes me the holistic health practitioner is, yes, I'm trained in massage therapy, but I also have hours of co-counseling. I also have hours of nutrition therapy training. I have hours, these are my personal studies. These are my just kind of where I came from. So coming from the medical world, I always asked why.
Yes.
Going into Santa Barbara Body Therapy Institute, I always got an answer. I always found out why. It might not have been the answer that I wanted. It might have been me needing to give up my coffee, or it might have been me needing to give up my sugar, or it may need me to be giving up my cigarettes or whatever it was at the time. I was shown that my behavior affected my health. And I found that through my massage therapy training. So maybe massage therapy training needs to be in schools.
Maybe doctors should go to massage therapy training. Maybe all of our medical specialties should be in massage therapy training.
Well, it's funny you should say that, because I do feel like they got some exposure to it probably about 10 years ago was when I first started seeing a lot of the lymphatic drainage inquiry coming to me. So there was obviously somebody talking about it in the medical field, because I was getting I was getting clients saying, my doctor told me to go get lymphatic drainage massage. And in the beginning, it was out of the blue because I've been doing this practice for 10 years and nobody wanted a light touch massage. Right. So something culturally shifted too, that this was popular, but I do think that it did get some attention from the medical field.
Well, I think because I've had my own experience in elective plastic surgery, and I think plastic surgeons are very quick to see the benefits of lymphatic massage. I know that was the first massage you and I ever did together was when I got the green light after I had had my surgery, and I chose to do a lot of procedures all at once. It was like a 7-hour surgery. And I remember just getting on the table with you.
It's like, let me touch you.
Yeah. And I remember just as you were getting me on the table, I started to cry because I was afraid. It looked like the airbag in my car had gone off in my face. And so I was swollen and bruised. And I thought, what have I done? And I loved my doctor. I loved his entire staff. He was amazing and perfect. But having you there with me and doing the lymphatic massage, that was the first. That kind of like turned around my recovery right there. And I was already several weeks into my healing process, but I was still in so much pain and so emotionally tied up into what was happening to me. And I remember you, just the first time you touched me, and I just had this feeling of calm come over my body. And you explained to me what was happening and what was going to happen to my body. And just being there with you. And during the massage, it physically started to feel better. Emotionally, I was better. And then for days after the massage, it was just amazing to me what had happened. And I know the power of touch is incredible, but just that experience for me, that really turned my recovery time around at that point. I feel like had I not done that, I would not have recovered as quickly or as well as I did. So as somebody who, customer testimonial, right? But it is true. And the power of touch is such a power. It's so powerful. I mean, I know when I meditate in the morning and I do breath work in the morning. And if my husband's home on a weekend and he's sitting next to me while I do it and just touching my back, when I'm done, my heart rate will be much lower. I can get down into the 50s if he's just touching me, as opposed to just being there by myself and doing it. So it's an incredible thing. I mean, what you're doing is amazing work.
Well, the biggest blessing is to be able to have your friends trust you with the thing that you think you're the best at. And then for them to share your, like, that kind of story, that's all I could ever ask to be, right? Like, I've done all this training for something, right? And then to be able to share it with the people I care about and be able to help you through that journey, which I think was amazing and brave. And, but you also, I think you also knew what you were getting into because you'd had surgeries that weren't elective.
Right.
So you kind of knew what you were up for. Mm-hmm. But again, I do think that the having lymphatic drainage be something incorporated into the recovery does really make a difference. Yes. And so I was glad when I started hearing doctors recommend it. Now I'm at the point where I've had a doctor call me and ask me how soon after surgery should his patients have it. And I'm like, I don't have the license here. You have to still tell me when you want me, I don't. I'm not a doctor. I mean, I like to play one, and I really like when my friends come to me and ask me doctor questions. I am not a doctor. So I don't ever want to take that role, right? Like, I am a facilitator. I'm like the one in between. Like, I want to be the coach. I want to give you the questions you should ask your doctor. I want to be the one that's had other people in that experience for you to bounce them off of. I want to be your advocate, Right. I want to be the voice over your shoulder when you are at the doctor. I want us to get the answers, right? What's going to be the life thing that you can do that's going to be the one thing that's going to move you to the next, if it's the lower cholesterol, or if it's the, like you said, the lower heart rate, or if it's the whatever marker you're looking at, right? If you're looking to have a higher HRV, if you're looking, whatever it is, I want to be the one that I can be that sounding board, and I can give you the knowledge that I've had. And like I said, what makes me the expert is I literally have been touching bodies for 25 years. And they are so different, and none of them are the same. Right. And that's one of the messages that I really want to get out about, is just how unique each body is. And it really always makes me laugh when, we all tend to compare ourselves to somebody else. Right. But I'm amazed every day how each body works. And they're all so different. So it gives me like just the glory of that. But then it also makes me understand how hard these surgeons' jobs are. Right. Because they're told that the bodies look like this. And I'm sure they get in there and they're like, what the hell? This wasn't on the picture. So, this isn't in my book. This is not in my book. So because I know just from touching bodies, because I can feel them, right? So I feel what's there. So I know that I just have so much respect for the guys that actually have to go in there and figure out, because I know from the outside they are all different and none of them feel the same. No. So that's kind of the cool thing, So I really hope that through all my years of training, I've come up with I've had your pattern, or I've had your scenario, or, I've had the person sitting at the desk for 10 years. I've had my client every 2 weeks from 78 to 92. Wow. I've had the triathletes, right? I have my friend that only comes when he can't walk. Right. I see him on a social level, but the only time he comes in my office is when he can't walk. I'm like, will you please come just once? One day earlier. When you can walk. So I can get you better, right? And we're not just fixing, we can actually move you to the next level. 2 minutes earlier would be helpful. So... And then, I was able to build my own career out of the office there in Oceanside, and been there since 2003. That's great. And we've talked a lot about lymphatic massage. Yes. What are some of the other massage types that you also do for people? A lot of my practice has, I think just because it's what I enjoy and it allows me to tune in, has been a lot of lymphatic drainage. I think that's I think it's kind of where there aren't a lot of practitioners in that niche too. So that's where I've kind of really found that work rewarding. And I feel like I get to create the relationships with people because they're coming in for a session after a surgery. But I do deep tissue, which is there's surface muscles and then there's deeper muscles. And so deep tissue, you're targeting those deeper activated muscles. I study that through trigger point therapy and through Chin Jitsu. I do myofascial release.
Okay.
I've studied cranial sacral therapy, of course, the lymphatic drainage, polarity therapy, your basic Swedish and aromatherapies. I do reflexology.
Okay.
I think that's all of my formal training.
And you mentioned too that you've helped triathletes, and
Yes.
and I know we're kind of endurance enthusiasts in what we do because we cycle. We do a lot of road cycling, and many of our rides are long and lengthy rides. So how do you help the athletes that come to you?
Athletes are twofold. One, there's always, are they pre-event or are they post-event? So there's activating massages, and then like we want to detox the muscles. So there's recovery massage therapy.
Athletes are always pre-injury and post-injury.
That's a lot of where I see my athletes, to be honest. They don't do a lot of preventative. I'd love to see them in for stretch sessions, like before, a couple days before their events.
Stretching.
I don't want them to be stretched the day before their event. I want them to have some tenacity to do their thing. And then then recovery afterwards is mainly the thing, but definitely trigger point therapy and, just tell me where it hurts kind of thing. And then, tell them, like, if they have a dominant side and a weaker side, we talk about different ways that they can train in therapy to keep that balance. Because that's especially, every person has a dominant side. So especially for people who are doing endurance events, that dominant side is always going to be the side that's going to work the hardest, the longest, the fastest for you. So
and that would also be helpful too for people who are recovering from an orthopedic surgery.
Yes. That's another one of my pet peeves is people going to physical therapists and they're just working one side. I hear that they do way better now, but that's my coaching for my clients is that if you're rehabbing a right arm, you do everything with the left arm.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Otherwise, that dominant arm is just going to get more dominant.
Right. You got that one big muscle.
Yeah.
A little tiny arm over here.
So, yeah. And I would think the last thing that I would say about my therapy in particular is I do blend all of those. Like, you don't have to book an appointment with me and know what kind of massage that you want. You know, we're all set up in this world where, I have a massage menu and you can look at the styles that I do, but ultimately it's a blend. It's what does your body need today? I always my biggest fear is someone to come in and say, "Oh, can you do the exact same thing you did the last time?" I'm like, I have no idea what that was, but what I tell them is, I will be my best for you today. Like I was my best for you the last time you were here, because I'm a totally different person today and so are you. So the best I can do is you tell me how you're doing, and then I'll take all of my skill set and be my best for you.
Okay.
So,
and as we wrap up our very first episode, anything you want to say before we get off?
I'm just really grateful that you came and shared your stories with me today. That was really sweet. I mean, there's nothing better than a truthful story from a dear friend.
It's very truthful. I would not have made it through that without you. And my husband and I look at each other all the time and say, I think it's time for one of us to go to Christina. You need to go to Christina.
Well, that's very special to me. So, definitely. Yeah, I think the one last thing I just want to say is being a massage therapist, it's always kind of got its little, people just aren't sure what that is. And what I've always even been a little, I don't know if it's embarrassed to say I'm a massage therapist, but it just doesn't hold like the clout, like I'm a physical therapist or I'm a rehab therapist. It's always kind of like, oh, she's just a massage therapist. And I feel like I want everybody to understand that if somebody's in the practice of being a massage therapist, they're there to help you. Like, they're there to hold a space, to find out how they can release a trigger point, how they can relieve some pain. they're really there for that. And I think that the training is really great for massage therapists. I'm really hoping that it doesn't go down like for me, it was very organic and very about taking care of myself first. And then if you take care of yourself first, you can be there for your clients.
Right.
And you know me, I've really tried to be like, practice what I preach. Like, I won't be telling people to do something if I haven't been able to like make it work, you know, and I will try anything to validate it so you don't have to.
Right. Well, as we move forward, what else can your listeners, I'm thinking that you're going to be talking more about a blend of ancient wisdom and kind of an East meets West kind of thing. Is that what we're looking forward to in the future? West medicine with Eastern.
Yeah, that's definitely, I'm in the middle of that, right? I've got, we can't deny 5,000 years of ancient Chinese wisdom.
I don't think we should.
I will never get done with my study of Qigong and what that looks like. But, and then we have Western medicine and, boy, are we lucky, you know, science, technology, like it's amazing. But I want to be like that middle ground for people. I want to make sure that, that all the craziness is out there, that we can take all of those things and bring them down to like exactly what works for you. And so that's the blend, right? You can't deny that there's energies and aspects of how your pulses in your body work. And then there's always these outside influences and, diagnostics that we can use to either confirm or deny kind of these things that we're feeling. And I'm a big one that knows that the body has innate intelligence. And if there's anything that I want to do is help you get to a quiet space where you can hear your own body's wisdom.
Oh, there you go. That sounds like a great goal. Yeah, that's good. And it's nice too. I mean, it's always nice to have a good doctor, but when you have that backup person too, that you know is coming at it from a different than just a medical, way to come at it, a holistic and an entire, as we get into these doctors with specialties, you want to also just remember your entire body works together. And I think that's what you do perfectly, is the idea of the whole body, not just, are we just looking at my stomach or are we just looking at my knee? You look at the entire body.
Yeah.
And I think that's what really sets you aside and makes you special.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. So we're going to look into these different modalities. We're going to talk about, like I said, I've got a cardiologist that I want to talk to. I've got a plastic surgeon that I want to talk to. I've got other clients that I want to talk to, and mainly just get that message out about where massage therapy can land in your life and in your health.
Right.
So
great.
Thanks for helping me.
I'm very happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
All right. Thank you.